This is K-12 Tech Talk. K-12 Tech Talk. The podcast by K-12 Techs for K-12 Techs. Real conversations, real arguments, and real banter on trending K-12 technology topics and issues.
Live from the somethingcool.com studios, this is the K-12 Tech Talk podcast. I am Josh. With me, as always, is Chris, when his PC works.
What's up?
And Mark.
Hello.
So this is episode 102. We took a quick 2-week break for the holidays. I hope you gentlemen are all rested and relaxed and reinvigorated to set the world afire with this podcast. Are you? Are you ready?
I was excited. I turned on my laptop and got a Lenovo BIOS update. So I'm like, what? I'm like 15 minutes late.
Yeah. Well, you're always late, so we've come to expect it. Yeah. So Mark and I just banter while we wait on you. Yeah. So any emergencies over Christmas? Did you guys get called in? Did you work? How was your breaks? Were you able to relax?
I had a very productive break. I was able to get a lot of planning and a lot of things done that I just haven't had when the office is empty. I was able to get a lot done. And we had one little crisis to help out with, but it was not a crisis within my team. So not so bad.
Good. Chris?
I filed my E-rate for 70s.
Did you? Good.
We had 2 UPSs die.
Oh, geez. Over break?
Yeah, I don't know. You know.
Huh. Wow.
And then our school district does a big basketball Christmas tournament.
They do.
Really big deal for our area. A bunch of the surrounding schools come and enter that thing. My school faces off against Josh's school, actually.
Yep.
And the precedent is really tech department makes sure that the network is running for the streaming and the radio stations. And that worked. It was fine.
Good. That's good. I can't believe you had 2 UPSs die.
Yeah, and those fluke stories where the one was at a lower elementary, network admin walks in to do some non-related. I think this UPS is going to die at work. There's no errors on the front of the UPS. Everything is working and great. And then while he's in the room, it just literally just died.
Wow.
It is dead.
That's timing.
And we're waiting on, it's under warranty, but that's kind of been a deal with UPS warranties with this particular company has been interesting because they do some kind of troubleshooting via, chat and email, but they want to send somebody, but it's like a third party that they kind of send and they reimburse you afterwards kind of thing. Right. So that's been weird.
That's weird. We were busy.
It's fine.
We were busy. We got a couple days off, but that week between Christmas and New Year's, we pulled over 25 network cables, I think, in our middle school for security cameras. So we were up in the ceiling and pulling cables. We were day 2 or 3 into it, and my guys were working. I had a meeting to go to, so I come back. And I end up running into a vendor that the district has used a number of times, and he's the asbestos checker guy. He comes every once in a while and does these asbestos report things, and his company is the one that takes care of abatement. And he was in the building, and we were just kind of chit-chatting, and I leave to go to another meeting. And about an hour later, my guys call me and say, hey, the asbestos guy just shut us down. He said that in this part of the building that there's asbestos and we need to stay clear of it. So we need to talk to the maintenance director about how we get cables in that part of the building. And of course, that's the part of the building that we needed to work on. Like we had done the entire other part of the building. So yeah, that was interesting to work through, and we kind of kick that to the maintenance director and say, here, you get to deal with these cables now.
When you say we ran cable,
I was pulling cable, buddy.
Okay.
My hands were filthy dirty, and I was a sweaty pig. Yeah.
And I think we've unpacked this before, but do you still terminate
Oh Lord, no.
cable?
No, I don't. No. I'll pull the
Mark?
cable.
Mark?
No. Sorry.
Can either of you still do the
I
what
can-
order?
I can
what's the-
terminate a cable. I can say that. But whether or not my team allows me to do that on a production cable, that's a different story.
Can you say the white, orange,
white,
or the orange, can you
orange,
do
white,
that?
orange, and then I'd have to look it up from there. I don't have it committed to memory.
Okay.
I have more important things.
Mark, what about you?
Yeah, those are the colors.
There's a brown, white. Those are some of the last ones.
Yeah,
White, orange, white, blue, green, white, brown. Wait, white, orange, white, blue, green, white, brown. No, what is it? White,
I'm
orange,
very
orange.
disappointed. I'm not going to tell you. I am not. Gonna
Yeah.
tell you.
White,
Yeah.
blue, green.
We're gonna let you suffer.
Yeah.
Feel the burn.
While Chris is doing that,
White, orange.
He's googling it. Look at his eyes. He's got a second monitor.
Man, I can usually say it.
speaking of Googling things,
Yes.
the top story I feel like has been over the last few weeks and definitely today has been ChatGPT.
Yeah, and I actually I don't know if you guys heard it. My phone just went off with a text, and it's someone texting me about ChatGPT just getting a $29 billion valuation from a VC company.
Jeez. So, what are you doing about it?
We blocked it.
You blocked it. Huh?
Yep, we did.
Chris?
We did too.
Okay. Why?
Per teacher request.
For teacher request. Okay.
We saw, and it was right at the end of the semester, the week of finals, and it was primarily middle school, high school. On a whim, I got into the filter and did a report on, okay, who's hitting OpenAI.com. And we didn't have a whole lot of hits, but we had hits. And I called the high school principal and said, hey, here's the situation. I showed him ChatGPT and how easy it was to type in and say, write me an essay. And you could even get as detailed as write me a high school level essay on the Revolutionary War, or, pick your topic, whatever, photosynthesis. And he was pretty taken aback by it and asked me to go ahead and prevent kids from getting to it. So that was one of the things. It is really, really cool. If you haven't played with ChatGPT, you need to play with it. A couple weeks ago when it came out, I told you guys I had it write a theme song for the podcast, which Chris was supposed to record with his guitar, but he hasn't.
He's still working on the colors of the cable there.
He is.
Yeah.
He's good.
I got it. And in the I know the colors. It's white, orange, white, green, blue, white, blue, green, white, brown.
So Josh, when you blocked it, it was more proactive than reactive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We didn't have, obviously it's going to be super hard to confirm a case of cheating with that. There are some websites out there that claim that you can take the text, paste it into them, and it will tell you a score or a percentage of likelihood of if that text was written with or generated with ChatGPT. So we don't have a confirmed cheating case with it, but we have proof that we did have students going to that site quite frequently, several of them. So, and it was along the timeline of finals. So that was the proactive stance that they took.
Chris?
I talked to a teacher that experienced assignment being due, a report being due, and they noticed the stylings of the writing had changed from previous, and that was how they ended up figuring out this kid had used that.
Yeah.
But it was my English teachers at the high school that reached out with a short list of these different AI sites, in particular with the one that we're talking about, but asked that they be blocked, which is interesting. And I've been watching a bunch of little TikTok videos and different things about the good and the bad and what do you do with that. And teachers have opinions about that. Cause I actually watched one. It was a teacher that is for it being used. Mm-hmm. And they were arguing. It was really cool. Actually, the guy was emailing the tech department because the tech department had blocked it. And the tech department gave the reasons of why. And then the teacher used it to say, can you type me an email to respond to this email?
Oh, wow.
So
Interesting.
they were using it to argue with the tech department, but he was talking about all you're really doing, and this is a good argument, the student that only has the student issued device.
Yeah.
You have blocked that for that kid. But those students that are able to afford a phone or a personal device, they are still using this resource. They are still using this tool.
Yeah.
So you've kind of messed that up. So he was giving that approach to it, and that's interesting to think through.
I was looking, there's a lot of commentary on Reddit on the K-12 sysadmin thread, and even on other teacher threads as well. And it seems like, and I'm not totally well versed in every single comment, but it seems like the general consensus among sex directors is to not block it. But there are a lot of people, and one person has called this very overblown or alarmist, a lot of more on the education side, the academic side of the house. They're saying, no, we got to block it for intellectual property, for cheating purposes. So seems to be more proactive and definitely on the academic side. But a lot of the tech directors are saying, not a lot, but a few have said, hey, we looked at student logs, we looked at login attempts. Very, very few students are even attempting to go to the site. So I don't know.
It'll spread. All it takes is one really popular TikTok video, and more and more people will start using it. Like when I found it a month or so ago, I told my son about it, and I'm like, if I ever catch you cheating with this, I'll there will be repercussions. But look how cool this is, and we played with it for a good while.
Super cool.
It's super cool. Listener Andrew today, he had it write a PowerShell script, and he's like, the script works. Like, you can copy and paste, and it works.
Wow.
So, and I know
I watched a thing. It was like, can you write me something in Python that makes a circle turn into a sun and rise, and it spit junk out, and then the guy ran it, and it did the thing.
That junk is called code, Chris, but it's okay.
So somebody had a really good comparison of like, is this where we were 10, 15 years ago when students started to find online calculators? We freaked out about like, well, hang on a second, we can't allow kids to have a Chromebook because they're going to have an online calculator and they're going to cheat in math. Are we 5-10 years from now, we're going to be like, I can't believe we ever blocked ChatGPT?
I think I would lean that way.
To a degree.
It's like the teacher in elementary. They're like, no, you don't use an ink pen. We only use pencils here. Ink pen is superior to pencil. Use the ink pen. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's a better tool.
I understand it is a good tool. I don't know, though, in an instructional environment where you're supposed to be teaching kids how to write an argumentative essay, I don't understand, or right now anyway, I cannot wrap my head around saying ChatGPT is a good tool to go to ChatGPT and say, help me write an argumentative essay about gas prices. Pick your topic. I don't understand how that's the kid's not learning anything from that. They're using the tool to create the outcome. I think that's the same argument with calculators. Depending at your level, you have to master the foundation of multiplication before it's appropriate to use a calculator as a shortcut with multiplication. Does that make sense? Mark, am I getting the education realm right, Mr. Teacher?
Yeah, that's it. That you just summarized teaching to a T.
Perfect.
But I did have banter with someone with a teacher-like person today, talking about if it's a creative writing class, obviously they want the kid to write and be creative.
Yeah. Right.
But if it's a class, you're doing these essays and you're learning about citing resources and going through the research process, this can just be a great tool that is used. And there's going to be different measurements than like what was the content to go off. That you just rip this kid off of a tool.
I don't know that I would accept content from GPT in a research paper, because how do you know where it's pulling its information from? Is it pulling valid information that you can cite? all
Sounds
you're
like
going to
Wikipedia at its beginnings too.
Exactly. Right.
Well, that's a big part, right? It's unsourced. You have no idea where this content is coming from. So people are really looking at it from a perspective of like, this is a great summary tool and this does a really great job. But I haven't heard anything about the accuracy of the facts.
I mean, I know the people that I've talked to that have asked it to write scripts and simple programs, it legit works. So from that aspect of it, and granted, programming is to me a little more analytical than an opinion on a topic.
Yeah.
So that's probably easier. And I do know I don't remember what I asked it. It was something about a joke. I think I asked it to tell me the world's funniest joke. And it like it wouldn't respond. It was like, well, humor is subjective and blah, 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 blah. And it wouldn't give me a response. I know that it's continuing to learn and get better at those types of interactions. So I don't know if you asked it that now, if it would come back with anything. But
no, the one that was like, can you give me a lesson plan for high school students on photosynthesis?
Right.
And it was generic looking.
Right.
And I sat with one of my buddies as a cross country coach. And he was like, can you tell me how to improve my 20 meter or something? I don't know what I'm talking about. I haven't ran since 5th grade. But it listed like 6 things to do that made sense to him. Again, he said these are generic things, but far better to read the way that it was presented than like to Google search and you're clicking around on articles to get that same information. It was just presented to you.
Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say there is. I was going through this thread, reading like what are other districts doing, and then somebody had ChatGPT summarize that thread, and it's flawless. It's
really
perfect. So it's here they are taking an active thread of people. And then they had ChatGPT summarize that thread, and it's good.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's really good. If you get a chance to check out, K-12 sysadmin, the Reddit thread, there are multiple threads on ChatGPT, and a few people have done this since I first looked, and they'll write generated by ChatGPT at the bottom, so you can see just how well this thing is doing in summarizing an active live thread, and it is good.
Well. Okay, so a couple months ago, back when this came out, several of us were playing with it on writing policy, and one of my friends told it, write me a password policy, and it wrote like a 4 or 5 paragraph policy on passwords about, they need to be 15 characters, blah, 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 blah. And he said, he went back and said, okay, now make it mean, and it changed the context of the paragraphs and became snarky. And he wrote back again and said, okay, make it really mean. And it got like, you idiot, you need to use strong like it was hilarious to watch it change. And my wife and I did the same thing. We told it to write an essay on something. I don't remember what it was. And then went back and asked it to write it at a elementary grade level. And it did. It went back and changed the language so that it was very generic and very easy to read. And then we said, okay, make it at a 10th grade level. And it did. It went back and changed it and made it that higher reading level. It's unbelievable to watch it happen in real time like that.
I found this email too. I was
Mark's panicking. What, Mark?
As you were describing this, I was like, well, the policy development's really fun. So I just went in and write a policy about using personal devices in a school. This is perfect.
Now tell it, Mark, tell it, make it meaner or make it mean and see what it changes.
Hold on for a second. Just to summarize, it's a longer policy, but it starts with purpose, scope, bulleted policy, and then an implementation. Okay, make this policy mean.
So what were you going to say, Chris?
Another teacher talked about how students are doing this. This is at my school district. Well, there's a Chrome extension called GPTrue or false.
Yeah.
And you can take this and copy paste it in there. It says you can do like around 50 words, and it tells you the probability that it was written by a human or not with it. So like she made one, ran it through that, and it said there was like a 0.02 chance that it was written by a human.
Wow.
So interesting.
We need to share that in the show notes, because I had found a couple websites that were doing the same thing, that were kind of that GPT detector, if you will. Yeah. And they were struggling to keep up. Like their websites were having a real hard time. I couldn't get to load half the time.
And her thing just the same though was this, and this is again interesting to think through. There's those websites that will paraphrase and rewrite sentences.
Sure.
So, you do this and you run it through it, you scrub it a little bit and you keep going. And then you maybe you yourself do get in there. Because it was said basically, if you were just reading, she said, if you were just reading this as a teacher, you would think it's solid, like a solid essay.
Yeah. All right, Mark.
I'll put that in there. The GPTrue or false.
Okay.
Is the name of the extension.
Mark, did it get mean?
It didn't understand mean, but I said make a more strict policy, and it is wonderful. First off, the policy has changed. The purpose of this policy is to provide guidelines for the use of personal devices in school. Well, then when I asked it to make it more strict, it now says provide strict guidelines for the use. And then it changed everything from saying like cell phones may be used in classroom. Now it says are strictly prohibited on school property unless prior approval has been obtained by school administrator for education. It's perfect. It's really good.
Ask it to get snarky. Chris, you want to talk about PDS real quick while Mark's telling GPT to get snarky?
Provision Data Solutions is a proud sponsor of the K-12 Tech Talk podcast. They can help you with all of your networking and firewall needs, including Fortinet. They're big sponsors of the Midwest Tech Talk conferences as well. They'll be at the Security Symposium in March and the Tech Conference in July. Visit MidwestTechTalk.com for information about the conferences.
So, Mark, I'm lost. Mark, did it get snarky or no?
No, in fact, it says I'm unable to make your policy snarky. As a language model, it's not appropriate for me to express sarcasm or irony. So ChatGPT...
That has changed.
That's changed. It's just, it's growing feelings.
That has definitely changed, because I know the password policy that we were playing with, we were able to tell it to get mean or snarky or something.
But this is where it gets crazy. So it says like it's not appropriate for me to express sarcasm or irony. And it's important that policies are written in a professional and respectful manner. So not only is it saying I'm not going to be snarky, it's also saying you should not have a snarky policy on devices. This is serious business, Mark. Stop it. So
that's hilarious. Wow.
Amazing. Yeah. So
wow.
Why are we blocking this stuff again?
That's amazing. Maybe you're right. Maybe like in 10 years, like you guys said, it's just another tool that once kids have foundational expertise of topics, that it's a tool they use every day. That's amazing. Mark got admonished by ChatGPT.
I feel kind of bad. ChatGPT was really upset with me for asking for a snarky policy.
Chris, you have a listener email from Pate, our friend Pate.
Our friend, dear friend, Pate, says this: do you allow your students to change the profile picture and or change their display name on their school email accounts? He says that he turned off that ability back in November, but realized that if they had set a profile picture, you had to use GAM to go through and delete the pictures. And now he's just kind of to a place where he's curious what other schools are doing, or if you've had issues either way of that. And what we're talking about, if you're in Google Admin, I looked this up. If you log into Google Admin, you get to directory users. If you go to like more options, you get like this profile editing spot, and you can check mark what users can edit. Name is on there, profile picture is on there, gender and work location are on there. So what do you guys do?
I think we still allow all of that to be changed. I know we've had one-off problems with students changing their profile picture to something inappropriate or violent, and we've removed that, and the admin, the principals, have addressed that as a discipline issue. But I think we still allow that to happen. I'd have to go look to be sure. Mark?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we allow photos to be changed. I haven't heard of any abuse of it, but that doesn't mean it hasn't happened. We do not allow names to be changed because all of our systems are integrated, so the names are coming in from other places. So if a student were to change a name, it's just going to change back. So we have that turned off. I did learn though, in the display name, if you're a Google district, I don't know about Office 365, but Google will actually restrict you from changing the name more than a certain number of times, and then will lock that name for weeks.
Oh, wow.
So you got to be careful, because if somebody changes it to an inappropriate name multiple times, and then will lock that name, and there's nothing you can do to change it. So just be careful if you're going to allow that setting to be turned on.
Interesting.
We allow profile picture and gender. We don't allow name or work location.
I mean, I could see rationale for not allowing name change. And Mark, to your point about Office 365, who uses Office 365? I mean, come on.
I don't know.
We just alienated all the Office 365 people.
And our subscribers have been cut in half.
Right now, it'd be like a tenth.
From 3 to 1.
That's not half, Chris. So, Pate, thanks for your email. Hope we answered your question. We really didn't. But yeah, that's an interesting topic. I could totally see the rationale for not allowing name change.
Yeah, we had obnoxious name change before. I'm pretty sure that's probably like the moment that I made that go away.
Yeah.
And profile picture, that's the same as what's been said. When we've had individual issues before, but that's just like a tech violation individually.
Right.
Now I guess to unpack that a little further, I try to do that thing, even if we're chasing this a little bit, but talking about like, can you change your wallpaper, that kind of junk? We don't let elementary kids do a lot of those changes at all. As you get older, you get more privileges like that.
Oh, that's kind.
We don't allow it.
I think we allow wallpaper to be changed, but extensions is where it got insane. So we we had to move to a all block and whitelist only, because people were installing these extensions that like make the cursor turn it into a unicorn, all that kind of stuff, and it just got out of control. Well, and there's all the dangerous extensions too.
Exactly. That was going to be my point. You have those extensions that kind of harvest data and run away with it, and you don't know where it's going. So we're the same way. We block all except for those that are explicitly allowed.
So that's a conversation we've had on a lot of other things too, in terms of like allowing people to install softwares and local admin rights. I mean, moving from allow staff and students to install what they want to it has to go through IT. I know that's where all the cybersecurity stuff is really pushing us. That's a massive hurdle to get over. No, sorry.
Just did it. When I arrived at my district, they did not have, and this was 8 years ago, they did not have Active Directory. It was all local user accounts that have full privilege on every machine. So one of the very first things I did was get Active Directory up and running. And after that, the next step was standard accounts do not have privilege to install software. There was complaining and gnashing of teeth, but they got over it. There was only a handful of accounts that had the ability to install anything. And that made it easier for us now that cybersecurity insurance is requiring that. And in Missouri, that is now, as of July 1, 2023, that will be the requirement.
So your state requires you to restrict?
Well, I'll say the big player in cybersecurity insurance in the state of Missouri is called Music. It's kind of a consortium. I would say the majority of school districts are in that consortium for that insurance. And as of July 1, 2023, elevated privileges, that should only be a few people. It should not be everybody. So, and MFA for those elevated accounts that have that privilege. So it'll be, and MFA for all their email. Yeah, it's a whole thing. But yeah.
It's a whole thing.
It is a whole thing.
It's a whole thing, Mark. You're from Boston. You wouldn't get it.
No, I wouldn't get it. But that is a really interesting way for state to actually kind of govern local districts, like on a very, very minute level, is just enforce cybersecurity and then have the private companies just take care of the policy stuff for you.
Yeah. And it's good. We all know it's going to get to a point where these insurance companies aren't going to have cyber as a line anymore because it's gotten too expensive to cover. Let's take a break here real quick for another advertiser.
ClassLink is a sponsor of the show. Visit classlink.com and check out the K-12 section to see how they can help you. My tagline for them is like clever, but better. They do a launch pad of apps and websites, file sharing, rostering, and OneSync, multi-factor, different login options, and analytics. They can help you and your teachers manage logins and accounts. I'm going to put a link in the podcast description that talks about a school district in Michigan and how ClassLink helped them streamline access and regain instruction time. Check out ClassLink.
Let's talk about Fortinet, or actually let's talk about what Fortinet is doing with us now. They've given us a question, Chris.
Yeah, this is like I don't have like a chime, like a
like
this is like a security segment. Yeah,
we need a no.
Security.
We don't need EDM music. No.
Yeah, Fortinet, a proud sponsor of the K-12 Tech Talk podcast. So the couple of things, and I'm going to bring up the question of the day. They have free security awareness training at no cost.
Yes.
I'm going to put a link to that. I wasn't aware of that. Josh, you were aware of that?
Yeah, I was aware of that. I follow several of their SEs on LinkedIn. And one of the guys, one of their SEs I met at COSIN last year. I cannot think of his name right now. I'm trying to look it up on my phone. He super awesome guy. He led a session on some of the federal regulations that may be coming in the future about cybersecurity, and he's been talking about this a lot on LinkedIn. Their free cyber awareness training for K-12 school districts. Jeff, his first name is Jeff. Go ahead, Chris. Keep talking.
Okay,
Jeff,
so they have that. Jeff what?
Jennings.
Okay.
He's the national senior SLED practice director at Fortinet.
They have that going, no cost. They have a phishing component that you can get through Fortinet that has a little bit of cost. But basically, Fortinet told us they want us to know and spread the word that they have that stuff going. We just mentioned the music insurance requirement stuff. Those things help fulfill one of those music insurance requirements. But the question then with that, speaking about phishing, how often do you guys do phishing on your staff?
Mm-hmm.
And how often do you think you should do it if it's not in line with how often you do it? So once a week, once a month, every 6 months, where do you guys stand and why? And would you like to change anything with that?
So I'll go first. With our old program, I didn't have really a good way to spread it out. Like I gave it a window of time, and it was always a really narrow window of time, like 3, 4, or 5 days. With this new tool that I'm using, I set it to more or less a month, and I say use one of these emails from one of these categories. So what I typically do is pick the fish of the week category, and it will send one of 60 different templates to each user over that 30-day period. So what I really like about that is that it kind of defeats the prairie dog effect, that when your staff figure out that you're sending out a phishing email, hey, Josh is sending out a phishing email. Hey, Josh. So it's like, prairie dogs popping up in the fields. So it kind of eliminates that because they get random emails and it's spread out over a 30-day period. I do it monthly. I think that's probably on that end of closer to too often than not often enough. I think any more than monthly, I think you would run into a problem of kind of making your users kind of deaf to it all. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. We're also doing it monthly, and the same thing. It's randomized, so everybody gets a different letter or email, and that stops the prairie dog effect, as you mentioned. Oh. So yeah, it's random times. Everybody, it's just set up that you're going to hit everybody between the hours of 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. sometime in the next month.
Let the record show Mark copied my answer.
It did.
Chris,
ditto.
Yeah, just say ditto next time.
Ditto. I'm once a month. this is the first school year I've been once a month. I don't do what you guys do. It's been the same email hit to everybody, and I completely hear you and see you, and I think I should do what you guys just said.
I think when you do that, when you make that change, you're going to see your hit rate go up.
Interesting. I think I believe you.
Funny story, a couple of years ago, I sent one out around this time of year, towards the end of January, about a fake W-2, and prairie dog effect, okay, but I had the dark prairie dog effect. I had a math teacher go out into the hall during passing time and say, "Hey guys, they just sent out our W-2s." So I had a bunch of people in that building click the link. Yeah,
yes,
he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing. Yeah,
brilliant.
That's funny. That's
brilliant. No, I mean, I don't know if I would do it. I think I like your point, Josh. I don't know if I would do it more than a month. Weekly seems like a lot.
Yeah. That would be awful.
Just stop opening and stop reading it.
I used to do it like once or twice a year, and I'm really glad I do it. I feel good about the once a month stuff.
Yeah.
Like once or twice a year didn't seem like I don't know. I just didn't really feel as though I was testing things appropriately.
I was going to say, for the last 2 years, we've started doing phishing campaigns once a year for our students. And so we will ask, we want to have the school principal volunteer and be on board with it. So we'll do an outreach, and we're only going to do like the middle and high school grade levels.
Yeah.
And so we'll ask, and then at the end we'll publish the results and show statistics of, what the click rates are for students. It's a really, really fun activity, and
that's a good idea too.
Kids enjoy it. Yeah.
So you allow those kids to receive outside mail?
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, I mean, you do have to whitelist everything to make sure that stuff, but yeah, let's not go down that path.
Okay.
We know where you stand, Josh.
It's not me. It was
you
our
don't
administrator.
Want career and college ready kids at your school.
No, those emails should be taking place in personal email accounts.
Anyway, Fortinet, if you need anything from Fortinet, if you want to learn more, they have an email address for us to give to you. It's FortinetPodcast@Fortinet.com. Mention us, email them, ask for whatever you're wanting to ask about, but email FortinetPodcast@Fortinet.com.
And Fortinet is Fortinet, right? Not Fortinet. It's Fortinet.
Fortinet.
Fortinet podcast @Fortinet.com. That's cool. Do we get to check that email address?
No.
No. That's
I can ask.
So we kind of mentioned E-rate. You filed your 470s earlier, Chris. We did our big fiber walkthrough back in December because I had a 470 out there for doing some redoing our fiber between our buildings. I only got 2 complete responses for that project. I'm kind of surprised at that. I had one that wasn't a complete response, but I only had two complete responses.
I've heard, I know, and I think we both talked to this company. A lot of companies not seeing the value or maintaining the workers to do these runs, and
yeah, that's part of it. And honestly, I kind of wonder, sales companies, MSPs, whatever, are shorter staffed. And E-rate can be a headache. So I kind of wonder if, they're not wanting to put that effort into it because of the time suck that it is or can be. So, yeah, it's just, I think this has been an interesting year for E-rate. I'll just put it that way.
You going to pull your own fiber?
No, we're not doing that. No, there's directional boring involved. And no, we're not. Although that would be cool to run, but I don't think they would appreciate me doing that. Let's see. Intrado. So one of the things that happened over the week, Bleeping Computer had a story that Intrado was hit with ransomware back in early December, and the ransomware gang that hit them has now posted some of the data that they exfiltrated on their website. It was a relatively small exfiltration that's been posted, although they claim to have quite a bit of data. Intrado, if you don't know, is the parent company of School Messenger. And I know a ton of schools use School Messenger to send texts for snow days and phone calls for snow days. And They have a School Messenger has a product called Secure Document Delivery that allows schools to send report cards to parents through School Messenger. So kind of the worry here with Intrado is, okay, what data got exfiltrated? Was it strictly corporate data of employees, or was there client data or School Messenger data that ended up in that exfiltration? So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out if we really ever find out the real story or the entire story. I was telling my superintendent that, sometimes these things take 6-9 months before the whole story comes out of what was really taken. And even then you don't know the whole story until the ransomware gang posts all of the data on their website. So just be aware that happened with Intrado if you're a School Messenger customer, to see how that shakes out. Anything else, guys?
No.
Teachers came back today.
I'm tired.
Kids.
Our teachers came back Wednesday. No, today's Thursday, right? We had a flex day. Our teachers had a flex day Tuesday. Everyone came back yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, same. And I'm exhausted.
Are you really? Were you teaching?
No. I mean, we're watching attendance like a hawk right now, but
How come?
We're concerned about, flu and COVID and RSV and all the other stuff, but so far so good. So I'm not going to have to go in the classroom.
Oh, that's right. There was a district on the East Coast talking about mask mandates again.
That was us. Sorry.
I wasn't sure that you wanted to say that, but
not a mandate.
Okay, sorry.
It was not a mandate.
Sorry. Okay, so Chris just left apparently.
I got a low battery, bro.
Okay, well, I guess we'll start to wrap this one up then.
I got the cord.
So, what are you guys' big goals for the next month or so, spring semester? What do you got cooking?
I wrote them down.
Uh-oh.
Let me pull up my Evernote.
Speaking of productivity tools.
Hey, we did have that on Twitter. Somebody asked us about what our productivity tools are. I use Evernote. I'm a Google Calendar guy. What do you guys use?
Paper.
I'm a paper guy.
All right. I have a legal pad next to my phone at my desk, and I write a lot of things down, most everything down.
Big fan of Google Keep.
Are you?
It's my big one.
Yeah.
I love the ability to make a shopping list, and then when you get to the store, it opens up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep.
I like taking a piece of printer paper as I sit down in the morning and I make out my list, and I love scratching it and scribbling as I accomplish things.
Huh.
That says something about me.
I'm sure it does.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Here's
my list. You ready for my list?
Okay. Yeah.
So district in school improvement plan.
Oh, yeah.
I made a little note to myself. I want to make a difference in that plan. I want to get a little more involved with our networking, wired and wireless, poke it a little bit more, learn more about our setup and our config and stuff like that.
That's dangerous.
I know. Be a little more in person. My very first year in the district, I went around to every classroom and visited. I don't get out as much as way back when, and I want to do that more, move around more. Be more involved with MSISAC. I use it, but I could use far more of the resources that it offers. I need to get some sit down time and get more plugged in with that. And then things that have been kicking around for years and years that we just haven't done anything with. Paper cut or some more printer management kind of bit. I'd like to dabble with that in 2023. Background check stuff. Josh, you use that Raptor, don't you?
Mm-hmm. We do.
That's been kicked around several times, never gets anywhere. I like to look into that more. Our SROs have been asking for more security cameras. Our bus garage has wanted more cameras on buses and some of our older buses. Our doors, key fobs, all that kind of stuff. We use pins on the doors. That's been talked about. So I guess security being not just cybersecurity, but the physical security stuff. And then several times time clocks get brought up. We don't do like online time clocks. We still do pieces of paper.
Yeah.
And then even stuff as subs, like how we handle our substitutes and do leave requests and stuff. That's something else that keeps getting brought up that I want to try to poke. There's no way I'm going to pull all this off in 2023, but
No.
I made myself a list of here's the stuff that people keep talking about that gets a little bit of traction and then it doesn't get improved upon. I'm going to try to knock out these things one by one.
You know, it's interesting you bring up MSISAC. I'm a proponent of MSISAC and the services they offer. I subscribe to a number of their free services, but I did email and ask for a bid for one of their paid services, a pen test, as part of this cyber grant. That was, I believe, back in like early November. I have yet to get a response from anyone.
You bashing them right now?
It's not a bash. I'm just saying they do great work. They have wonderful services. I love their black hole DNS. The fact that they scan my stuff and I get a report every week. I love it. But getting, I don't know, I guess, I know for a fact their membership has gone through the roof and they are super, super busy. But it seems like they need to add some staff or something because the paid service vertical at least is kind of struggling to keep up. It seems like.
Interesting.
So, yeah, we got a lot.
I'm gonna go ahead and take that off my list then.
Good idea. I talked you out of it that easily, huh?
Or I'll send the email and it's gonna be like 2025 when I get sent back.
Yeah. No, we've got a busy year ahead of us. We're I guess right before Christmas, the day before we left for break, we finalized our Infinite Campus, and I could make this a whole episode. We finalized our Infinite Campus export and import into Campus. All green check marks. We had like 99.5% data accuracy, so super, super thrilled with that. But getting to that point, I know we interviewed, what were their names? Charlie, was it Charlie from Infinite Campus?
Charlie, yeah.
Charlie.
And the senior vice president from Tyler Information, I can't remember that guy's name. But, you know, the glorious promises of, you know, there's going to be an easy button and it's going to be super easy for the data export. And we're pulling back the curtain on the data structure and it's not going to be a big problem. Oh, it was 2 weeks, straight 2 weeks of our sys person and I on the phone with field layouts from Campus of what they wanted in these files and us going through Tyler trying to figure out where the hell these fields were stored. Like it was awful. And then great example, the contact field, the household parent table or report, whatever you want to call it. Campus wants those as individual records. Like they want parent 1, parent 2 as separate records or separate rows, however you want to think about it. The way it's housed in Tyler is it's a row or a record for the student. So those records, the parent 1 is a field in that record. Parent 2 is a field in the same record. So what we had to do was I had to run the report with both those parent 1, parent 2, and then cut and paste them into new records. Then I had to do the same thing for the addresses for those people because Campus wants the street number as a separate field, the street name as a field, the street moniker or, you know, drive, boulevard, lane as a field, the direction, like 123 North Main Street, north as a field. And then, of course, in Tyler, that's all kept in a single string. So breaking that out was a disaster. Yeah, it was 2 weeks straight of data manipulation. It was rough.
That's episode 85, Tyler Tech and Infinite Campus interview.
Yeah, it was rough. So in the middle of it, this is great. You will love this. In the middle of it, Tyler reaches out and says, "Oh, hey, by the way, we've got these reports, these canned reports that'll make your export so much easier. It's all done automatically for you." I'm like, "Thank God, because it's been a disaster so far." So I went and ran a couple of them, and several of the fields, like it was the state school ID field. Campus is expecting a number. Like one of our schools' number is 4020. The export job from Tyler exports the school name in that field. So I contact Tyler support because they've got a special support email address for these exports. So I email the email address and I say, hey, explain the problem. They reply back, said, nope, that's the way they asked for it. That's the way we wrote it. That's right. I said, no, it's not right because it's expecting a number and you're exporting words. That is not right. Nope, that's right. We're not changing it. This was like a month ago. Today, I get the release notes from the most current release of Tyler Sys. Guess what they addressed?
I love it.
Yeah. So if you're a Tyler Sys customer migrating, be
we
ready.
just signed our contract.
Did you?
This week.
Did you?
But we won't go till a while. We won't start till like July. So you will have this all worked out.
We'll be done in July. Yeah, our goal is, online registration, online enrollment, whatever that's called, in July, where parents verify their demographic information and address and all that stuff. That will be done in campus. So we'll see, and I'll be in Alaska half of that month. Anything else?
We got a conference coming up. Illinois.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Plug it.
It is the Secure Ed Schools K-12 Data Privacy and Cybersecurity Conference. January 18th and 19th, we are presenting a session. I'm going to tweet that out. But the three of us hanging out, we're going to talk about ransomware, the top 10 things we've learned from the ransomware interviews we've been doing.
Yeah, that ought to be fun. And we've learned a couple things.
Should be swell.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. We had ChatGPT write the entire presentation.
Good throwback, Mark.
That
I swear I'm not drinking tonight. I'm taking a dry January. So if you notice a difference in me this month, it's because I'm taking a dry January. Mark is rubbing it in my face by chugging a beer right now. So yeah, Mark used ChatGPT to write the presentation. That's a great throwback to the beginning of the episode. On that note, let's wrap it up for tonight, gentlemen. Any closing thoughts?
We are K-12 Tech Talk.
Oh, no. We left that in 22. We left it in 2022. No, that was part of the notes, remember?
He's so disappointed. All right, guys. Thanks. Shares. Oh, we haven't mentioned that. Share us with your friends. That's how we continue to grow. We will post in the K-12 subreddit on Reddit, the K-12 sysadmin subreddit. We're on Twitter, LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Buy our merch. We got new shirts and hoodies. I'm working on some cups.
The cups look hilarious, by the way. The cups look really funny.
Anyway.
So, all right. Thanks for listening. That was episode 102. We will see you guys next week. Thanks for listening.